बेसिकली मैं आज आई हूँ यहाँ पे मूवी देखने के लिए। आई एम इन कार्निवल मल्टीप्लेक्स और यहाँ पे मैं कश्मीर फाइल देखने के लिए आई हूँ एंड आज मैं आप सबके साथ अपना रिव्यू शेयर करने वाली हूँ। सो गाइस स्टे ट्यून्ड। सो गाइस मूवी मुझे कैसी लगी मैं आप सबके साथ शेयर करने वाली हूँ एंड आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड फॉर दिस मूवी। काफ़ी ज़्यादा हाइप बना हुआ है इस मूवी का। Hello viewers, welcome back. So finally yesterday I watched the much awaited movie Kashmir Files and I was waiting to watch that movie since it got released, but yes, I can honestly share what I felt after watching the movie. Before the movie got released also there was a lot of hype because it's based on realistic subject and the Kashmiri exodus or genocide. What was it? I mean, what was the reality that the people of Kashmir faced? I wouldn't call they were Kashmiri Pandits or something. I wouldn't like to give a tag because it again might create a controversy, because I think that I read somewhere that not only Kashmiri Pandits but along with them the Kashmiri Buddhist, Sikh and many other communities had to leave their houses and they were tortured to such an extent where they were forced to leave their own land. So, but yes, the majority were Kashmiri Pandits, I agree, but I think as a viewer what I felt is this is a must-watch movie for every one of us, and not just the people belonging to Hindu community or a certain section of people, but like everybody should must watch this movie. Now let's talk about the movie. Now the movie begins itself on a very terrific, tragic event. The first scene that I saw, I wouldn't give you the spoiler, but it was that scene where the terrorist sort of attacks into the house of a woman whose name is Sharda, and he kills her husband and then he offers her to eat blood-soaked rice. Can you imagine how brutal it was? So I was, honestly speaking, as a viewer, I was not ready to see that scene right in the initial frame, because I thought now the movie has begun and gradually we will get to witness such incidents. But the first scene itself is so horrifying, it's terrifying, and being a sensitive person, I cried. And to be very honest, if you are a sensitive person like me, you will cry through the entire movie. So it's a kind of warning, you can say. Or if you feel that you're too sensitive and you cannot watch brutality, then you shouldn't watch this movie, because it is full of heart-wrenching scenes. Some scenes are way too brutal to watch. I didn't know that I'll get so emotional. Like throughout the entire movie, I cried and cried. There were many scenes that were really heart-touching. The scene where the character of Anupam Kher dies, and the way he shared his memories about Kashmir and his last wishes with his grandson, which is played by Darshan Kumar again, and he did his role quite brilliantly, I can say. He has portrayed his role perfectly, especially the last monologue that he delivers in the climax scene itself. It will give you goosebumps, trust me. And one thing that I noticed, that while watching the movie, the audience, they were so engrossed that I don't think there were any whistles or there were any noise from behind. Like mostly in movies we see that audience react in a certain way, right? But it was pin drop silence in the theater. So that I appreciate. I mean, kudos to Vivek Agnihotri for making such an amazing movie. The subject itself is horrifying, it's terrible, and it shouldn't happen to any person or to any community in the world. And it should be remembered not just as a part of our history, but as a reminder that if we ignore our historical incidents and we don't get to know about it, then we don't understand what's going on in our current reality. So the character of Anupam Kher's grandson, which is played by Darshan Kumar, is basically representing the youngsters of today, who are confused, who are always in a dilemma, and they don't know whom to support and whom not to support, and they are always constantly in a state of confusion. That also we get to see through his character, which was, I think, very important for our youngsters, because he sort of represented us. Because we always think that okay, this might be right or that might be right, but we don't know the facts. So we should first get to know the facts and then decide what's right or wrong. And our aim, our agenda should be to unite the country. That's what the movie does. And I have watched a couple of interviews of Vivek Agnihotri sir, where he says that the aim towards making this movie was to reunite Indians, and which this movie is doing amazingly, because you can see the box office collection. It's successful, and people are pouring so much love. And I have watched the videos of ladies who are crying and they are in tears, Kashmiri Pandit ladies, and even the men, everybody, they are having emotional breakdown moments while watching the movie, because that's what they went through, or that's what maybe their ancestors or whosoever they went through, so they can connect a lot more than what we can connect. But I'm not a Kashmiri Pandit. I am not aware about Kashmir at all. But still, while watching the movie, I cried and I could connect with each and every character. Hats off to the actors. And one performance that I actually loved, you can say, it's like I hated it but I loved it, was the character played by Chinmay Mandlekar, which was of the central antagonist who was a terrorist. That Bitta Karate, yes. He did an amazing, fabulous role. Brilliant work. I mean, for 1 second also, you won't feel like he's a normal human being. The heartlessness, the cruelty that he presents on screen is commendable. So hats off and kudos to the entire team of Kashmir Files. And I think initially that most of the people had an anticipation that maybe this is a small budget movie made within a 15 crore amount, so it might not do that well in the box office, because there were many other films that were about to get released, like Akshay Kumar's movie also, it got released later on, but I don't think that was so much successful, just like Kashmir Files. And I would request each one of you, if you haven't watched that movie, go and watch it, because many a times we watch a lot of rubbish movies that are just stupid. But if a director has put so much of hard work and effort in making such a realistic movie, and he has even risked his life to show us the hidden truth that has been hidden for 30 to 35 years and we were not aware about it, and those Kashmiri Hindu Pandits or those Kashmiris who were thrown away from their own land, they were Indians. So we should consider them as Indians, and being Indian citizens, we should support them, and we should know what they faced instead of living in a denial mode. That's what I can say. Everybody should be making movies on real incident, because our youth is unaware about many subjects. I mean, about India as a whole, there are so many interesting topics to make movies about. And if a movie could unite a country, could spread a strong message, and has amazing performances by talented actors, then I think even a small budget movie can do wonders. So these days I think movies are more of content driven, right? So we should focus on watching content driven movies. And yes, sometimes if you are chilling around with friends and hanging out, then you can definitely go for rom-com and other kind of movies. I'm not against it, but personally, if you ask me, I love watching realistic movies. And I thought actually to make this review video that day itself, like yesterday itself when I watched the movie, but I was not in the state. I was feeling that pain and that hurt that I absorbed through the movie. It just kind of, you know, made my mood upset, and I was sad. I didn't know how to make a video that day. I tried, but I couldn't, because it took me a little bit of time to get back to my normal self. So I hope you can understand that. Let me tell you again briefly that the movie is dark, it is engrossing, and it is uncomfortable to watch. Truth is obviously uncomfortable to watch, and Vivek has delivered and has done justice to the movie through his direction, and he has not sugarcoated anywhere. So if it's a scene that happened in, if it's a real incident, then he has exactly shown it how it should be. So there's no any modification, right? So that brutality which has been portrayed on the screen is way too real. There are no songs or anything. There's just one song, I think sung by Pallavi Joshi's character. Again, I forgot to mention, Pallavi Joshi plays Radhika Menon's character, who is a professor, and she has nailed her character. Again, bingo, she has nailed the character. Like, I can say that in this movie there's not a single actor whose portrayal could be, you know, put into speculation or we can doubt. Like Mithun Chakraborty in his character of IAS officer, where he has to constantly show the helplessness that he's a part of the system but he cannot help the people. So this was all about the movie, and I don't want to give you spoilers actually, but I think for me, if you ask which were the most heartwarming moments while watching the movie, one was Anupam Kher's death scene where he's dying. So Anupam Kher's portrayal was bang on. Like, obviously every character which was portrayed by all the actors, they were amazing, but Anupam Kher's part was something that touched my heart. Then obviously in second I have to say Darshan Kumar, Chinmay Mandlekar, everybody, and even as I said, the Radhika Menon's character played by Pallavi Joshi. There's a song, Hum Dekhenge, yeah, Hum Dekhenge. That song is very real. It's like you feel like whether I should enjoy that song or not, because the lyrics are something that you want to hate. The lyrics are hate-worthy, but the way she has sung, it's amazing. It's a nice song. And yes, the climax scene, Darshan Kumar's monologue, that's the highlight of this movie. I think that's the main highlight of this movie. While listening to the monologue, you might feel that, oh my god, we didn't know this. Being Indians, we were, you know, unaware about a lot of hidden facts about our own India. So finally, I would like to give this message that being Indians, we must be proud of being Indians. We must be proud of our heritage. We should always try to unite our country. So on the basis of anything, be it caste, creed, anything, we shouldn't be divided at all. And we should not create differences among each other based on petty issues. And yes, if our country people have faced a tragedy, we must acknowledge the pain instead of living in denial mode. And any person who tries to break this unity of our nation, we must stay away from those people and we must give them a befitting reply. That's what I think Vivek sir wanted to do with this movie. He wants to unite us. He doesn't want to spread hatred. So all these kind of rumors that has been, circulating that this movie is Islamophobia or something, that's absolutely wrong. This movie doesn't try to create a phobia for Islamic community, but it stands strongly against terrorism. So if you do not support terrorism, the movie does that. I hope you like this video. If you like watching my videos, then do subscribe to my channel Sweetie Vlogs, like this video, share this video and comment below that what was the part of the movie that moved you the most. Do not forget to press the bell icon for latest notifications.